What's up, it's Jim from Culture Samples, and in this video I'll walk you through everything you need to know about Sine FM basses for drum and bass. It sounds something like this. And after this video, you'll know everything about the basics and then going into a little bit more complex stuff as well. And you'll see that you can really go for classic drum and bass basses, but also for the more jump uppy stuff. It's really just about the basics that you learn in this and then applying it into, just making the pitch higher for the B part or adding different wavetables. You'll see it happen in a minute. So let's dive right into it. Let's use Serum and open up oscillator A and B. We're going to use harmonic series for both. And I'm going to immediately take down the randomized phase so that each time you play it, it just plays the sine wave at the same place. And this just makes sure that your sine wave is perfect. Enable mono, make sure, the pitch bend, whatever, adding a little bit of metadata. The Sine FM is all based on the blend between A and B, which will be a sub part, which is A, which is low, and a high part, which is higher, B. Now, if I add a little bit of distortion right here, you can already hear the sound play. Or even like this. So let's keep the distortion open and take LFO1 and put this on envelope. We're going to add this to A and we're going to add this to B. You can now determine the tonality or the tone of the sound, how it sounds and how it feels the character, just by blending A and B together however you want. Let's use it like this. Now, to get into the next part, let's just demonstrate what happens if you play around with the semitones. +7, +5, and +4 are the best ones you can go for. The most classic ones. So let's use octave 0 and then +7. It's kind of like the Badadan key like this. Harmonic series is really cool because it kind of just duplicates or increases the sine wave like this. And this helps with the preset because the blend between semitones and this one gives you very nice different variations. So to demonstrate the second part, I'm opening another serum, 2 sine waves, and I'm adding distortion with distortion 2, which is free, and I'm adding an EQ beforehand, and see what happens if I boost this up and if I remove it. Also increase the octave like this. When you boost the sub and then distort it, obviously the sub is going to be prominent. And when you remove the sub, the mid is going to be prominent. So you can really open up that FM sound by automating the sub like this as well. So let's emulate that in Serum. Open the filter and use multi-high pass 12 or HP12. Enable A and B, take down the cutoff, and then as you can see, this is perfect because when I add a little bit of drive, you can still see that the sub is really prominent like this, which is perfect because I don't want to eliminate the sub necessarily. I just want to go into the mids, distort the mids, go back, get the sub and the crunch back because distorting the crunch together with those mids really gets you that crunchy FM sound. So we're going to add LFO1 to this, just like so. And here's the difference. Add some resonance, add some drive. Obviously it's going into the mids, get some nice, prominent distorted mids and then get back and get that crunch. That's why we're using this. Also adding the frequency here, so we're not really boosting the sub. If you don't like the blend, you can also just change that and get different variations. Now, before I get into different stuff, let's show you a trick. The trick is basically introducing FM. We didn't use frequency modulation yet, and it's obviously a Sine FM sound, so let's show you a few things you can always go for. So on the B part, you can either go with FM from A, which sounds like this. So we're going to FM this one based on the lower sub frequency. And then FM from sub, which is also really cool. It's kind of the same as FMing from A since it's also -2, but in this case you have more flexibility because you can put this on -1 without changing the sound because we're taking down the level. Now we really get that insect vibe, so put it as -2 and you'll see what happens. Really cool sound. First of all, FM sub or A and then just adding a little bit of it. Make sure you use a sine wave because this... weird. Get more grit and crunch in the game. So we can also FM from B with the A sub part. And then you get that kind of like saw into effect, like as if a saw is like, you know, cutting into the sub. And if you overdo it, you get that jump uppy sound immediately. I don't really like this one too much if I want to have a clean Sine FM. So FM sub, FMA, that's it. Another thing you can do before we dive into processing it is take LFO1 and add that to the sub. This will add more crunch and more, you know, tightness to the sound. You can easily achieve that just having the sub in there, but just make sure you don't select it in the filter, because obviously it's going to go to the drive and then, you know, it just messes up with the sound. It's nice if you have this part here going to the filter and this right on top of it without going through the filter. How I like to clean this up is, first of all, put this on bell, then opening this up. And we clean it up by adding some highs. Take a bell, take this down like this as well. At around 200 Hz because that's a muddy frequency, but not too much. Then I like to either add a chorus on around 10,000, take down the depth, add the feed, take it down. We gave it a little bit of room, but you can also achieve that by having hyper dimension and then opening the mix and take down the size and take down the detune. You can add both of them. And you can even add it in front of the distortion, and that's where it really changes the sound even more. And this really plays with the phase, and I don't like that too much, but you can do it with chorus because this one is aiming at the highs. And if you change the highs before the distortion, that's fine. If you play around with the sub, you can already hear it like go left and right on your headphone. That's not really what we're looking for, so this works. Finally, I like to add a little bit of reverb on Hall mode, take down the size so it immediately hits decay for seconds, open the low cut and muffle a little bit with the high cut. You can also add a compressor after everything. Just take the threshold at around -20 and some gain. This just adds a little bit of snappiness based on your attack. And tightens it up. So that's the sound. Now we can add some macros. So we can obviously add it on FM from sub. FMB, I guess. We can also FMA. So FM from B, this. And then we can also change the tone, I guess. And then we can also link 3 maybe to this sound here. So it opens up more of the mids. And then this one is left open. So this is like filter and this is FMA. So sounds cool. Finally, you can go into the distortion. So you get different types of sounds if you change the distortion. And diode 1, tube or sine shaper are my favorite. So here you go, tube. Then you have diode 1, which is really crunchy immediately. That's if you want that really heavy stuff. And sine shaper is only good if you keep it at around this range, because here you get that wise noisy stuff. But here it really cuts nicely into the sine sound, I guess. If you want that wow effect, I guess. So let's just use tube, because it's not too overdone. Let's use this for a variation. You can get this preset for free on our website on culturesamples.com, so grab that while you're at it. But let's create a more complex sound. So the first thing I want to do is find a spectral wave for the bass. And then I'm going to find one for oscillator B as well, but it needs to have a little bit of sine in that sound, because that's what gives it the harmonics kind of vibe, you know? That immediately sounds really cool. We can keep looking. Let's get this chorus afterwards. Take down the mix, I don't want it too wide. Now, to make a variation sound, we can maybe open this up and we can modulate this one. And then if we open this, it should move. Cool, let's just change the output slightly so it doesn't do it too much. And then we add this to the rate as well so that it goes faster. So it goes from -4 to quarter to like an eighth. Let's change it to trigger. Or dots. Cool. And now we can even add this to the FM of the sub slightly. Now you can change a bunch of stuff. Basic shapes, and just take a sine wave. And then we have jump up wavetables in our jump up pack, and those have a few laser ones, which is kind of made for this. That's pretty cool. How we made these is pretty simple. We'll make a tutorial on this, but basically you just take whatever wave that you just made and just load that in here and then select that squeaky sound and then just crossfade it, you know. But that's a pretty cool sound, and you can also just do this based on, you know, having part A and part B, and then just having a sub, and then going into that filter, distortion, and clean it up. That's it. That's DFM sound. And if you go low, you know, don't open B up too much. So take a sine wave and then just take it low. Like this, you don't distort it too much. You can get clean drum and bass sounds. If you go in a high pitch, you can get jump uppy stuff, especially if you add spectral stuff. And you can also take our wavetables right here. But yeah, that's it. So if you want to see more tutorials, drop whatever you want to see in the comments. We'll get on it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to download the presets for free on our website. Cheers.